So the US system of measure has all these weird numbers in it, right? It's got all those 12s and 16s, a bunch of 3s. It's got that 5,280, which is obviously just there to be confusing. Do you want to divide by this thing? I don't want to divide by this thing. What's up with all these numbers? Well, the US system of measure just kind of happened. It was around for a long time before it was systematized in any sort of way. And as a result, some of the numbers just sort of ended up weird. So you might be wondering, why doesn't someone just sit down and come up with a more sensible way of organizing things? Well, someone has, and that's the metric system. Here's how it works. In the US system, we have all of these units for length. In the metric system, there's only one, the meter. In the metric system, there's only one unit for capacity, the liter. Now, these are a little bit confusing. Meter, liter, don't be confused. The meter is abbreviated lowercase m. The liter is abbreviated capital L. It has to be capital. No lowercase l's for liters. And for weight, there's just one unit, the gram, abbreviated G. Now, don't be confused also by the gram versus the dram, which we saw in the US system. Names are unrelated. Gram with a G. Now there's a little complication. The gram is strictly speaking a unit of mass, which is very slightly different if you're a physicist. And if you're not a physicist and plan on doing all of your measuring on planet Earth, totally doesn't matter. Be aware that there's a difference, but you don't need to be worried about it. So, how big are these things? From the frame of reference of someone used to the customary system, a meter is a bit more than a yard. A liter is a bit more than a quart. And a gram is startlingly teeny tiny. There are about 30 grams in an ounce. Oh, that's tiny. Why do you want to measure weight in grams? It is a convenient unit of measure, but we're going to see in a moment that we actually usually don't measure weight in grams. Why not? Because instead of having all these messy numbers and all sorts of different units, the metric system uses prefixes to rescale the units that it has. And the scale factors aren't ugly numbers like 12 or 6 or 5,280. They're nice numbers. They're powers of 10. Now, there are a ton of prefixes in the metric system, ranging from the very, very large to the incredibly small. But we're going to concern ourselves with 6 of them. The 6 we're going to be concerned with are kilo, abbreviated K, which means 1,000. Hecto, abbreviated H, which means 100. Deca, abbreviated DA, which means 10. No prefix at all is used to mean just one by itself. Then deci, abbreviated D, means 1/10, or we can write 0.1 as a decimal. Centi, abbreviated C, is 1/100th, or 0.01 as a decimal. And milli, abbreviated m, is 1/1000th, or 0.001 as a decimal. So how would we use these? We combine these with the basic units to get appropriately sized units for whatever we're trying to measure. So we could have 1 centimeter, abbreviated cm, is 1/100th of a meter. This is about the width of a dime. We could have 1 kilogram, abbreviated kg, is 1,000 grams. And 1,000 grams is about 2.2 pounds. If you were going to weigh a person in the metric system, you would most likely use kilograms. Or we could have 1 milliliter, abbreviated ml. And now milliliters, you probably see this all the time on bottles of products. 1 milliliter is 1/1000th of a liter. And in fact, 1 milliliter is the volume of a cube, 1 centimeter on a side. So this is about a centimeter. 1 milliliter is about the volume of a sugar cube. So that's it. That's how we operate the metric system. We have 3 basic units, meters, grams, and liters. And we use those together with our 6 basic prefixes to describe units of appropriate sizes for whatever we want to measure. I'm going to have you practice with the prefixes just a little bit. Write each of these in terms of the appropriate basic unit. 1 hectometer, 1 decigram, and 1 decaliter. Pause the video and try this now. Alright, the prefix hecto means 100. So 1 hectometer is 100 meters. The prefix deci means 1/10. So 1 decigram is 1/10 of a gram. Or if we prefer decimals, 0.1 grams. Either of these answers is correct. 1 decaliter is, deca means 10, so this is 10 liters. Notice the difference between deci and deca. Those take a little bit of getting used to.